Let's get into it. What a week. Marianne Williamson announced on Wednesday that she was suspending her campaign for president. In this realm, at least. Then she exploded into 1,000 bats and wheeled off into the gathering dusk. All right, that's on me. That one's on me. That one's on me. Her video address began with this.
I read a quote the other day that said that sunsets are proof that endings can be beautiful too.
Wow. She would have given the fucking best State of the Union. My fellow Americans, I read a quote the other day. It said that, what is grief if not love persevering? I urge the Palestinians and Israelis to dance like no one is watching. Speaking of doomed presidential campaigns, SNL alum Nikki Haley suggested that Donald Trump wasn't spending much in South Carolina because he's saving his campaign funds for his legal fees.
So now it's clear why he wants me to get out of the race. Is because he needs more money to pay for his legal fees.
Well, sure, but he's also just winning by so much. Just demolishing her with very little effort. Why buy the cow when the milk's voting for free? To wit, in the Nevada GOP primary on Tuesday, in which Trump wasn't even on the ballot, Haley lost to the option none of these candidates by 33 points. Said Haley, yes, second place. The harshest no thank you is the one you drive your Honda Ridgeline to the nearest high school gymnasium to cast. Tens of thousands of people got in their cars, drove across some desert town that's probably great, and to vote in a primary that didn't count for no one. It's just gotta be a tough blow. A federal appeals court on Tuesday rejected Donald Trump's argument that he was immune from criminal prosecution for plotting to overturn the 2020 election because he was in office when he did it. Sucks when you think you're immune from something and then find out you're not. Remember that first summer after we all got those first 2 COVID shots and thought we were good? Remember that fucking moment? The light in our eyes? It was fucking beautiful. And then someone, you're like, breakthrough, Provincetown, and then fuck. For the purpose of this criminal case, former President Trump has become Citizen Trump with all the defenses any other criminal defendant has. But any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against this prosecution. Lock him up. Who said that? Lock him up. Nope. Hey, guys, lock him up. Lock him up. Nope. Guys, lock him up. Okay. Lock him up. All right. No. Lock him up. Continued the judges, he is just now an ordinary man. Perhaps he looks like no other man you've seen with his peanut butter foundation and emperor penguin body shape. Perhaps he utters strings of words that no other man could conceive of in his weirdest, most ambient fuck dreams. But he is a man and nothing more. The judges framed Trump's immunity claim as a threat to our whole political system, writing, at bottom, former President Trump's stance would collapse our system of separated powers by placing the president beyond the reach of all 3 branches. We cannot accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter. Fuck, muttered Jimmy Carter, so he could still go down for it. The secret thing. Steady as she goes, Jimbo, just a little while longer, you're almost dead. What? Smile because it happened. A spokesman for Trump's campaign said that Trump respectfully disagrees with the decision and will appeal it. Oh, for sure. Very respectfully. I'm sure he'll also courteously dox all 3 judges and deferentially throw a plate against the wall before calling their spouses Biden's Antifa cows. Meanwhile, the respect didn't last long, with Trump issuing an all-caps statement on Truth Social saying, all presidents must have complete and total immunity or the authority and decisiveness of a president of the United States will be stripped and gone forever. Hopefully, this will be an easy decision. God bless the Supreme Court. I, too, hope it's an easy decision, said Clarence Thomas, sending Trump a link to a jetpack he wants. Having trouble thinking, it might be easier if I was, say, 30 yards above the ground. The judges gave Trump until Monday to ask the Supreme Court to hear the case. It seems our national fate once again rests in the hands of a troop of weirdos who don't care if half of us die of septic miscarriages in hospital parking lots. So fingers crossed, everybody. I'm sorry. I took a fun thing and turned it kind of dark. When reached for comment, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas somehow emitted a cash register noise. A weird thing. Speaking of the Supreme Court, on Thursday, the court heard arguments on another Trump legal quandary, specifically the question of whether or not Trump is disqualified from holding office again after inciting the insurrection on January 6th. So many quandaries. Every single one boils down to, hey, we're gonna let this little fucker get away with this? Trump is appealing a Colorado Supreme Court decision that said he could be barred from the primary ballot under the 14th Amendment provision that says anyone who has previously served as an officer of the United States and then engaged in insurrection could not hold federal office again. The judges all seem quite skeptical that states could bar candidates from the ballot based on the insurrection provision, with some raising concerns about different states reaching different conclusions. That could get a little chaotic. I guess we better just let Trump be president again to avoid any chaos. Said Justice Elena Kagan, I think that the question you have to confront is why a single state should decide who gets to be president of the United States. Kagan added, it seems quite extraordinary, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a big move, but so is the insurrection. The president tried to overthrow the government, now he's running for president again. These are extraordinary times. Get your head in the game, Kagan. No one's saying it won't be a fucking mess. No one's saying it won't be exploited by right-wing goons in the future. No one's even saying it won't blow up in our faces. But Joe Biden's eyes barely open at this point. The threat of jail time is so much adrenaline coursing through Trump's veins, he's the political equivalent of one of those moms that can lift a Buick off a baby. You're Keanu. This is Speed. The tires on the bus are flat. That anxious woman already got blown out the side. And you're leaking gasoline all over the runway. Do you like your odds? No. But if you do nothing, we all blow up. Anyway. They're gonna do nothing. In one exchange, Chief Justice John Roberts challenged Jason Murray, the lawyer for the Colorado voters, on who counts as an insurrectionist and on who would decide who counts. Murray replied, there's a reason Section 3 has been dormant for 160 years, and it's because we haven't seen anything like January 6th. Sounds like somebody's never been to a Bass Pro Shop on Black Friday. Look pretty similar to me. A lot of camo and Under Armour going fucking crazy in there. It also sucks that it's never the cool stuff that lies dormant. It's only insurrections and cicadas. It's never the Coca-Cola recipe with cocaine in it. The worst shit. And how is Trump faring with all this? Well, speaking from Mar-a-Lago about the hearing, he threw this January 6th rewrite out there.
Because I think it was an insurrection caused by Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. Over the fucking guy, he loves talking in front of a fucking jet engine. Trump went on to say, and of course by Nancy Pelosi, I mean Nikki Haley, who is herself a stand-in for Kamala Harris, who is of course just Hillary Clinton. And ultimately, I'd have to say it probably goes back to my mother. And it does go back to his mother. Have you seen pictures of Donald Trump's mother? It's Donald Trump in a fucking wig. That home life was not good. If I were Donald Trump's mother. Of course, Trump isn't the only elderly person mired in legal troubles who might be president in 2025. On Thursday, the Justice Department published their 345-page report on President Biden, concluding his handling of classified documents in his home, as well as his sharing of government secrets with a ghostwriter, was careless, but not criminal. We did it! Not criminal. Not criminal 2024, everybody. Yeah. Like father, like son. You can't keep a Biden down. You also can't keep him from leaving precious secrets around. In the report, Special Counsel Robert K. Hur concluded that Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials, but that the evidence found by the DOJ does not establish Mr. Biden's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's our boy, covering his tracks, covering them with state secrets, but covering them also. In less than thrilling news, the special counsel's report included several mentions of President Biden's foggy memory, saying that at one point he did not remember when he was vice president, forgetting on the first day of the interview when his term ended, and then forgetting on the second day of the interview when his term began. Like you remember when you were vice president. I'm sorry, I'm stressed out. And whatever. All that stuff's on Wikipedia. We're fine. And we should have a frank, honest discussion about this after he's sworn in for a second term. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll take it. It happened right before he did a late night press conference. He was pretty feisty. He also confused Egypt for Mexico. So I'd say it all came out in the wash. We got this. Got your back, Joe. Love that guy. It's all back. Gonna fucking fight like hell for him. It's a shield. He's not. We're the people, he's the shield. It's an old shield, it's got holes in it. But it's gonna get us through, probably, maybe. But we've never used any of the other shields, even the shiny new ones from Michigan and Pennsylvania. You've never used those shields before. You think they can stop bullets? Maybe. This one definitely can. At least it could. It's gonna be fine. Or not. Might not be fine. Might be terrible. Might be something we all remember as a period of time in which we were collectively making the biggest mistake of our political lives. Or it's fine. Sure, the stakes are total. Meanwhile, President Biden was taking on the GOP over the border, calling on congressional Republicans to show some spine. And show some hole while you're at it, you punks. Continued Biden, reacting aggressively to a mid-afternoon blood sugar spike. He had an apricot. Biden said of House and Senate Republicans, many of whom push for this very funding, it looks like they're caving. Frankly, they owe it to the American people to show some spine. Can do, said Chuck Grassley, pulling a handful of loose vertebrae out of his pockets. Oh, show my spine? Out of the question. Forget you saw these. Now, you may think because Republicans blocked an actual plan to address border security, they might be bashful about continuing to exploit the issue to attack the Biden administration, but you'd be wrong. The body of the border deal wasn't yet cold when they moved ahead with a vote to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas for the high crime of being a Democrat and having a name that's vaguely migrant-y. And the vote failed. You know your party is in shambles when you can't even pull off the political theater you planned to distract from the fact that you can't govern. How stressful for Speaker Mike Johnson. His son's phone must be blowing up. For a guy who hates masturbating, he sure does love fucking himself. Yeah. In the Senate, after torpedoing the immigration compromise on Trump's order, a compromise that only existed because Republicans insisted on tying border funding to Ukraine and Israel funding, some GOP lawmakers came up with the genius plan of just passing the aid, which was what Republicans had blocked by demanding the border funding. Sometimes I feel like I don't even know what you want, said Democrats to Republicans in couples therapy. Sometimes it feels like you don't even know. Republican Senator James Lankford, who negotiated with Democrats on the doomed border deal, said Wednesday that he'd been threatened over it.
In fact, I had a popular commentator 4 weeks ago that I talked to that told me flat out, before they knew any of the contents of the bill, nothing was out at that point, that told me flat out, if you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you, because I do not want you to solve this during the presidential election.
Do people really say that out loud? I will do whatever I can to destroy you? I thought that was something people only said in movies, like, look out, we got company, or get some sleep, or I love you, son. Meanwhile, Georgia Congressman and haunted hayride jump scare, Marjorie Taylor Greene, got herself into a baffling, truly baffling Twitter spat with Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern this week. First of all, nothing's older than still fighting on Twitter. Other than like getting mad on Facebook Marketplace. But this began when McGovern mocked Marjorie Taylor Greene during a House Rules Committee hearing. We have the clip.
The clowns are running the circus around here. And we're wasting hours and hours of time this week on Marjorie Taylor Greene because what? She wants to impeach somebody. And don't even get me started on her absurd censure resolution of Congresswoman Omar that she introduced because she doesn't know how to use Google Translate.
Great, solid. I do have this idea that you don't want clowns to run the circus. Like, that's for professional administrators with management experience. Why wouldn't you want a clown to run the circus? Somebody with on-the-ground experience? Someone who knows what it's like to actually be out there every goddamn night? Clowns would do a great job. They're performers. They're not clowns all the time. I think a clown could be a great person to run a circus. You need a fucking MBA to run a circus? Never thought about that before. Then Green quote tweeted that clip, okay? So Marjorie Taylor Greene quote shares that clip publicly. And she writes, this is a quote, I'm just gonna read it in full. Wow, this is coming from the same guy who is well known to lay his suit jacket on the actual bathroom floor while spending a lot of time in the stall of the first floor bathroom of the Capitol. Ew, that's probably when he comes up with all of this poop emoji. What on earth does this mean? Okay. It is a baffling innuendo. So, spends a lot of time in there. How dare you call me and insult me? You take very long poops. This is America, all right? Everybody's taking long poops. So, what is she implying? Did anybody have a sense of what she might be implying from laying your jacket down on the floor? Like, what we discussed this at a very important meeting that we had before this program. And Sarah's best explanation is that at one point during one of his saga-like BMs, he hung up his jacket and it fell to the ground, and then someone clocked that and then told Marjorie Taylor Greene, because we're governed by the dumbest motherfuckers on planet Earth. But does anybody have any other explanation for what the innuendo might be, that he takes too long in the bathroom and lays his suit jacket on the floor? No. So your question is, why is she in the men's room? McGovern fired back, no idea what you're talking about. What are you doing in the men's bathroom? Aren't you late for a Klan meeting? Yeah. Okay. And she said, how dare you, sir? Oh my God, it's 3? I've got to get across town. The Grand Wizard will be furious. It's my day to bring Capri Suns and orange slices. I just want to kind of diagram the path of this fucking roast battle. You're a clown. Oh yeah? You take long shits. Oh yeah? You're in the Ku Klux Klan. These are just two people trying to point a fire hose at each other, kind of losing control. I still am baffled by the laying the coat on the ground thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene should not be an elected official. She should be stirring up drama at a private school Sadie Hawkins dance before getting dropped from a Stanley Cup hunter's text chain for insulting a child. She's been taken out of her natural habitat and it's driven her insane, like a gorilla that picks off all its hair. In Connecticut, Governor Ned Lamont announced last week that the state will cancel $1 billion in medical debt for 250,000 residents, making Connecticut the first state to wipe out medical debt on a massive scale. So remember, everybody, if you need emergency surgery, have it in Connecticut 5 years ago. In Amazon's 2023 financial filing released on Friday, the company warned investors that climate change could fuck with its profits. But on the bright side, the filing said, Amazon would face less brand confusion after that pesky rainforest dies off. And those Google results are all ours, baby. According to federal investigators, the Alaska Airlines plane that lost a door plug mid-flight last month seems to have left the Boeing factory without 4 bolts needed to keep it attached. Classic Boeing. They always try to upsell you on the fucking bolts. Boeing apologized and offered to give Alaska Airlines a store credit for 4 bolts now, Or they'd return the cost of the 4 bolts to Alaska Airlines credit card in 7 to 10 business days. Fuck these bolts, said the employee looking around with 4 bolts in his hand. Are those 4 bolts in your pocket, or are we hurtling towards the surface of the earth, too terrified to even scream? An event like this must not happen on an airplane that leaves our factory. We simply must do better for our customers and their passengers, said Boeing CEO David Calhoun, wondering if he'll ever find that carnival machine to turn him back into a child. He's fucking in over his head. He's just a big kid. Country star Toby Keith died Monday from stomach cancer at age 62, which is obviously very sad. Not a fan of his music, but I loved his politics. And finally, a white woman who was controversially named Miss Japan 2 weeks ago has relinquished her crown following allegations that she'd been having an affair with a married man. Miss Japan? I sure do. Very fast trains.
It's love it or leave it.